welcome to the House of War. Today in Breaking Chains, we are going to focus on what makes war different from other anti-trafficking organizations, especially those in the USA. Women at Risk unites and educates to create circles of protection around those at risk through culturally sensitive, value-added intervention projects. This is our mission statement.
Probably the simplest version of our mission statement is circles of protection. And that's why you see a lot of circles in the war world. You see our logo, the W is inside a circle. You see the seal. You see circles here, the little girls playing in a circle. My husband bought me that years ago and said, that's Women at Risk. And the woman in the circle. So creating those safe places, those circles of protection.
Yes. What makes war different can be summed up in our core values that are represented by 3 different colors: black, red, and gold. Can you elaborate on these for us?
Sure. So the black represents risk. So we are known women at risk, men, women, and children, mostly women and children, but real risk, not just poverty, for example. If poverty were a risk, we would have to help the entire country of Bangladesh. And so it needs to be the poorest of the poor. It needs to be those who are exponentially at risk. So the widow in that village, the orphan in that village, that person that has something about their story that puts them exponentially at risk. We're most known for our anti-trafficking because we fight 15 different risk issues, but really we deal with anything that attacks the worth and the self-esteem and the dignity of a human being. So for example, we had a partner that wanted us to partner with them in Sudan. My husband's organization was building a hospital there, and they asked me to build a grain silo for the women. And I said, okay, are they getting raped on the way there? Are they being attacked by lions? What's the risk? And they said, it's a long walk. And I said, okay, that's a really awesome project for some, development organization, but that's not what we're about. We need programs that are real risk. And so that's when we started working in the GOAT program, which I'll talk about in a minute. The second color is red, and that really talks about why we do what we do. And that speaks to our faith-based roots. We are non-sectarian in who we help, male, female, any human being, any faith, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, animist, atheist, everybody is welcome to come into our safe place. But we want to do it in the name of our faith. And so we're not bopping anybody over the head with our faith, but when we're asked, why do you care when nobody cares? We want to be able to say, because of Jesus Christ. That is what drives us. And so our ornaments are a good example of that. These are not made by Christians. They're made by Muslim artisans in Egypt who have done hand-blown glass for generations. And it's beautiful and it's painted with, 14, 18 karat gold. But they know that what we do is in the name of our faith. And they're very pious, religious people. And they know that what our profits go for is medical and educational scholarships for their women. But it just gives them the opportunity to hear us share with them why we care. Right. And then gold is the third color, and really that's the mother lode. That's where there are 4 main differences between us and a lot of other anti-trafficking nonprofits, especially in the United States. So the first one is value added, and you see that embedded in the mission statement, because we do not just rescue a woman, pat her on her head, and send her on her way. If you do that, she will end up right back in that same situation because you have not removed the risk in any way. You've taken her in, patched her up, and then you send her back. So we had a partner in Tajikistan that wanted to partner with us. They were rescuing at-risk trafficked women from former Soviet Union, very at risk. It met that first criteria. They were sharing their faith with them. That was lovely. But they were not training them in any job skill. And so I said, we'll bring that. We'll teach them computer skills and other things. These are educated women. They've been through the Soviet school system. And they said, no, we're just a Bible college. And I was like, it's nice that they have Bible verses in their head, but that is not going to keep them from getting trafficked again. 90% of the women and children that get picked up in a police raid and sent home in Cambodia, if they're adults and they're not given job training, they get resold. So you have to empower a rescued person to make a living with dignity. If you give $15 to a domestic abuse shelter, God bless you. You just helped a woman running from death. But if you give $15 to a value-added, sustainable program, we're taking that $15 and we're teaching that woman how to turn it into $30, $40, $80. And so it's way more important that they have that complete opportunity to learn to make a living with dignity. That is what got them in the problem in the first place. For example, we have a program in Burma. We built a U.S. or a women's training center years ago there, and probably, 13 years ago. And they started by teaching them 3 job skills. Mm-hmm. And today they now have 5 job skills, and they just added nursing last year, which is so exciting because, first of all, there is a doctor in that town who owns a hospital who is a man of integrity, mm-hmm. and he trains our nurses so that we know they're safe and protected. But when you are a nurse in a village where there's no hospital, no doctors, no nurses, this is a powerful skill. You are the be-all, end-all. And so that just value adds to them with dignity, with income, with status. And so that just pushes all my buttons. And then the second way that we're different from most other nonprofits is that we have embedded in our mission statement culturally sensitive. And we are so passionate about that. What that means is that every program in the war world is different because it looks different in every culture. The bottom line is men, women, and children do not heal until they feel safe. But right. Every culture defines safety differently. So you lock 500 women in a 5-story building in India with padlocks and thief bars, and that makes them feel safe. You lock one woman up in the States, and we don't feel safe. We want independence to feel safe. And so no 2 programs in the war world look the same. And so we had University of Chicago came to us and wanted us to partner with them in doing a domestic abuse clinic in the city of Egypt, Cairo. And they were lawyers. They were going to get women in trouble legal care, and they knew that our partners were doctors and they wanted us to give them medical care. Well, they decided after a year that they were just going to get them divorces and PPOs, personal protection orders, like we do in America. That's what happens in America. We immediately get a PPO, a personal protection order against the husband. But that is not culturally sensitive in that culture. A woman who's being attacked by her husband will never, never leave and get a divorce because the man has the rights to the children. Mm-hmm. She'll never see her kids again. And I told them, that is not culturally sensitive. Just adding American values to that situation actually made it worse. And so we did not partner with them. But the GOAT program is a good example of all 3. Because it's real risk. We were buying goats. We are buying goats. We do buy goats for women who are in dire circumstances. Maybe they're widows. The first woman ever that came to us, her husband, she had a husband. He was many, many, many years older than her, and he had stepped on a landmine. So he was blind. And their 2-year-old daughter would lead him with a stick because he could not see where he was going. So we bought her a goat. We had no idea, we weren't that smart, that in that culture a man's value was measured by the number of livestock he had. And we taught her to take care of it and not let it eat poisonous grass. And she had to milk the goat. She had to sell the milk. She had to sell the baby boy goats and keep the baby girl goats. And so there was real risk there. It was culturally brilliant, which honestly, we just fell into that. We were not that smart. We did not know how important that would be. But it was a hand up, not a hand out, because there's still something that they have to do. And then the third way is that we're comprehensive and holistic. So the thing about the West is we love to compartmentalize and we love to specialize. If you need surgery on your thumb, you don't go to a foot doctor or an ear doctor. And so many programs in the United States specialize in certain areas of risk. Maybe they can get you a job, or maybe they can get you counseling, or maybe they can get you stitches, but they don't do it all. And when a woman comes to us, as they do even in this building, they are curled up in a fetal position. They can't go in 18 different directions. And so we have to pull those services to them. So being that umbrella doesn't mean we have to do it all, but we have to network with other nonprofits in our community who have those specialties and know who that is. So you would never walk into a war program around the world or anywhere and know that we had anything to do with it, because we encourage each program to be their own entity, to have their own local ownership, their own board of directors, budget, registration, because our core value is that sustainability. And to exist for the long haul, you really need a name that reflects your own culture, your own language group. When we helped start a safe house in Dominican Republic years ago, they wanted to name it War International DR. And I said, no, you need to pick a name. That didn't even sound nice in Spanish. And so they need their own identity. And then the fourth thing is it's timely. This issue of social justice, as we know, this generation, millennials care about social justice like my generation doesn't. I'm a weirdo in my generation, a lone abolitionist, right? So we know in our culture today, it's very apparent that this next generation, and this is true around the world. I can be in Morocco or Egypt or wherever, and 20-somes care about social justice issues. And so we are in over 55 countries with 221 programs. We have 400 partnership requests that we have narrowed down to 200. But they're either active or completed. And we have an internal partnership application, which you're familiar with. You've worked on those. And if they're willing to add some of these other aspects or allow us to, so that college in Tajikistan, if they had let me add the value added, the job training, we would have partnered with them. But we do a site visit. We make sure their work conditions are safe. There's no children there. They're paying at least minimum wage, if not more, closer to the pay of an elementary teacher, hopefully. And some things like coffee, for example, they pay them the going wage, and then quarterly they pay them a fair trade bonus. And so that bonus is fun because they anticipate it. And we've learned that if you give that bonus to a female coffee grower, she will use it to get her children education. She will use it to put a roof on her house. And so one of our partners in Peru, little by little, we've hired all females. They also hire men, but the women are the ones who get the bonus. And we've seen that when you give that money to the moms, to the women, it goes directly to their family's welfare. And so no two war programs look alike. So we may be an incubator. We may help start, take a twinkle in the eye and help get that going like we have done even in the United States. Or we may be an accelerator where a program comes to us, they're like a drop-in center, or there may be a drug rehab program or a domestic abuse program, and they've been going for some time, and now they want to add social enterprise, or they're dealing with more and more trafficking victims. And so each program needs a different plan. Imagine if you had a family of 10 kids. I know you're too young for that, but just imagine. Each one of those children would need a different plan in how you raise them. Every mom knows you can have 4 kids and they're all different. They need a different plan from birth to death, from the womb to the tomb, right? And so that's true with our partners too, because they're our family. And so each partnership has a unique relationship with us, and no two are alike and none of them bear our name. And so really, you can divide all our partners and all our programs into 3 things. They're either curative, which is a safe house, and made by rescued men and women, or they're preventative, made by at-risk women, or they're supportive, which is what we're doing here, or like our books. And so we have some fun products just to show you, because it's hard to imagine women being rescued from being chained to a wall, and then, but you can imagine them in a clean, safe place making beautiful jewelry. And so right here in the land of the free, we have women right here in our headquarters, and this is one example of one of the beautiful things that our women make in a curative program. And this one is another one. It's a Lapis Lazuli Bar. And it's interesting to me, Lapis Lazuli actually comes from Afghanistan. But that's another really beautiful piece of jewelry made right here by rescued American women. So if you want to shop with a purpose and you want to know that your gift is going to literally help Americans who've been set free, then you can purchase these items. This one is fun. It's a beautiful copper bar. And this too is made in our curative program right here in West Michigan with American rescued women. And then preventative is like the ornament and like this fun piece that's made by preventative, made by people rescued from domestic or from homeless people, right? Men on the move, and they take auto parts, I love that, and recycle it and make really fun jewelry. And so those are some examples of preventative products. And of course, books. And so books are a good example of a supportive product. This is not a book written by a rescued woman or by an at-risk woman, but it's probably the best book that I've ever read on trafficking. And every chapter is a incredible study with research, and it gives you all the documentation. It's an academic book, so it's stupid expensive, but it's a good example of our supportive product. And then, as we've talked about before, we do have market items, but those are a beta test to see whether or not we should send it to one of our preventative or curative programs, and it's proof that we're a circle of protection. We want to protect those women. So those are just some of the ways that our programs evolve and develop, and how we're a little bit different. And I know you're going to talk about that coffee, but before you do, I want to show you something fun that we do here at WAR, which this is one of our necklaces that we sell, and I took the bracelet this morning because this didn't hang long enough for this cowl, so I took the bracelet and I made it longer, and you didn't even know that, did you?
I didn't. That's genius.
And you can do this even with pearls. If you buy a string of pearls and you buy the matching bracelet, then you suddenly you have another way to do it, and you didn't even know. So that is one of the fun ways that we try to make shopping with a purpose creative and cost effective, and yet it supports. This is actually a preventative product. In the back of it, you'll see how much labor goes into that. And we have a couple of those. We have it in gray and black, and so those are just fun products. So I know you want to talk about the giveaway.
Yes. Well, if you would like to donate to WAR, visit our website or shop the items mentioned in this video by clicking on the links provided. Thank you for joining us today on Breaking Chains. Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe on YouTube. Make sure to comment below on Facebook that you shared the video in order to be entered in this week's giveaway. Our giveaway this week is a bag of the 1000 Hills coffee beans, which you will see right here.
The reason it's in this little bicycle is because this particular program reunites two tribes that attacked each other and are now working together to grow this coffee. And we buy their bikes to help them ride bikes to work, which is why we put it in a little bicycle.
From our house to yours, this means war.